Hi, I'm Helen and this is Dom, and we run Land and Sky Media, a film production company based in Kendal in Cumbria. I'm losing my voice today, so I'm a little bit croaky, apologise. Land and Sky Media is a company, we work with responsible and regenerative brands to make film content, and we make social documentary for commissioners. And we decided to make this film. You're going to tell them that?
So we chose to work with PeatLife because I guess we see our work as our activism, and we want to be part of the solution to the climate crisis in some way. We wanted to work with an organisation that was close to home, that was local, and somewhere that we could see the work actually taking place on the ground. And it just so happens that the PeatLife project is an hour away from us in the north of England, so it was a brilliant organisation for us to choose. And how was it working with the PeatLife project?
Awful. No. It's been amazing. It's been really brilliant working with them, and it's been over a year since I started chatting to Paul initially, and I think over that time, we've checked in regularly, and the team have been so accommodating and brilliant. So we've been over a few times, obviously, to film with them, and I've chatted to Paul a lot. So I feel like we've actually developed a friendship out of this process, which has been really lovely for us.
And we've also we've developed a narrative by communicating lots and throwing ideas back and forth. It's worth saying as well that we did all of this work for free on a voluntary basis, because we wanted to be committing our time and our energy and our skills to make things better.
Yeah. So we really hope you enjoy the film. This is one film. There will be another one that we'll do beyond this, and I really hope that we can continue this relationship. That's been a really important thing for me and for us as an organisation, to develop relationships with organisations who do great work like this. So we hope you enjoy the film, and hopefully we'll see some of you soon. Bye.
I have memories of when I was a kid that I would watch Jacques Cousteau documentaries with my dad. Growing up in Canada, you had a lot of environment to go and play in. That imprinted on me, and when it was time to decide what to do, I don't know, I guess environmentalist stuff, and I didn't know what it was. There are careers to be had in this industry. So the idea that we need to develop young people's talents for the future of this kind of work is important.
And I started an apprenticeship with a wildlife trust, a conservation apprenticeship, and I did that for 2 years. I got into that because I really didn't enjoy my A-levels, so I thought I need to do something completely different. I know what I'm doing, and I know what I want to be doing in the future, and that's reassuring to have found that thing that I really like. We're losing peat all the time, losing carbon all the time. It's contributing to climate change, it contributes to flooding, and also there's degraded bogs are not a useful habitat for any kind of wildlife.
So the project's in its 4th year. We came together along with Forest of Bowland, AONB, because we realised there was a need to address some of the much more complicated peat sites. North Pennines are the lead partner on the project, but we very much work together when we're joining up all our expertise and resources and manpower and advocacy and all of that. We can really influence the government to make a difference. You achieve more things as a team. And yes, we've achieved great things, but I think bringing in our partners across the north and across the whole of England as well, that's how we learn. So we've got several sites, they're at different stages of restoration within the Pennine Peat Life project. We've got vast amounts of sediment building up behind dams already, lots of water being held in dams that went in under a year ago. So yeah, we're seeing results really quickly.
So of the objectives in the Pennine Life project, the first one is restoration. We had 1,353 hectares was the original target, and we are above that. We've exceeded that amount. When it comes to looking at UAVs, our thinking about UAVs has changed. What's happened is we've gone to the quadcopters, and they are much more robust, and you can use them in windier environments, and they're easy to carry, they're small. If you take the pictures before you have the work done, restoration work, you have a before data set that you can use going into the future, and that's proved invaluable. UAVs will become essential now for conservation work. The Peatland Code is a more complicated objective because it involves private financing and carbon credits and the assessment of the carbon potential. We have the first grouse moor in England sign up to a Peatland Code site, and that would be private sector financing and public sector financing coming together on a grouse moor, which is what we want. Now we want 100 more of those to come the following year because there needs to be. So that's quite an exciting change. And then when it comes to dissemination, that's probably been one of the strongest things we have done. We've gone from working with the students at the local school to the United Nations Environment Programme and everything in between.
For one person, I feel like my work has a disproportionate impact. Going out and seeing sites that are really degraded and damaged is, yeah, it's just really sad and just makes you want to do something about it. But when I go to other sites that the North Pennines A&B partnership has restored years ago, it's just so inspiring and so rewarding to see them just springing back into life. It's just really rewarding to know that you've been a part of that.
We do this nature conservation work because of the intrinsic value, but also we want to be able to pass on a healthy natural world to our children. I have 3 children. They know what I do for a living. So a lot of my inspiration is to do things for my children and to be able to pass on something to the next generations and be able to say with a clear conscience, we tried, we did something, we're making a difference.
Hi, I'm Kath. I'm the Policy Officer at the British Mountaineering Council, and I'm also leading on the BMC's climate change work. Thanks for the opportunity for us to show 2 films this evening as part of the IUCN UK Peatland Conference. So for those of you that don't know, the BMC is the representative organisation for climbers, walkers and mountaineers across England and Wales. So for us, climbers, walkers and mountaineers know as well as anyone the impact that climate change is really having in the places that we love visiting. In the mountains, for instance, it's a familiar story now. Glaciers are disappearing, roots are falling down, snow lines are receding, and the biodiversity and conditions for climbing as well as walking are really changing. In the Cairngorms alone, for instance, the maximum snow depth has declined by about 10 centimetres over the last 40 years. So as a membership organisation, we really want to now put climate change at the forefront of members' attention, at the forefront of our own organisation, and generally raise awareness. And one of the ways that we're doing this is with the Climate Project, which we launched last year, and which is what the first film is about. We did a lot of research into certified offsetting schemes that we could offer members and ask them to support. But the majority of these were abroad, and the actual projects, for example, cooking stoves, wind farms, and even tree planting, didn't really resonate well with what the BMC is about, as well as there being various complications around actually selling it as offsetting. So we decided to support a climate project, and specifically a peat restoration project here in the UK with Moors for the Future, who I'm sure you're all aware of, and who are helping reverse carbon loss by restoring the degraded bogs in the Peak District, and importantly restoring the biodiversity and landscape quality at the same time. So we are now offering our members the opportunity to support the peatland restoration work at the point of purchasing travel insurance and when they take out BMC membership. So for example, they can choose to donate from £5 to £500, as well as donate at any time. Specifically, the money is actually going to be used to help purchase and transplant the peat-forming sphagnum mosses onto bare ground to help fight erosion. We felt this was a really good, easily understood, tangible part of the peat restoration project, and it obviously also provides the opportunity for volunteering, as the sphagnum plugs actually need to be planted by hand. So in 2020, for example, Moors for the Future planted about 1.3 million plugs in locations across their working area, and they estimate in 1 year alone that they're preventing about 62,000 tonnes of carbon from being lost each year as a result of the restoration work. So far, the BMC has raised just over £40,000, which isn't bad during a pandemic where we haven't been selling travel insurance. So we do hope that this is really going to take off. I mean, indication is that it is working already. So we're also going to be extending the reach of the donations eventually by supporting other peatland restoration projects across the UK in the coming years. And so yes, that's what the first film is about. So I hope you enjoy it. So the second part of this is the No More Barbecues campaign that the BMC launched back in 2020 in response to the many wildfires that we experienced during the hot weather and when COVID restrictions were eased. And this is what the second film's about. Each year, moorland fires, as you will be aware, have a devastating effect on wildlife, livestock and people, and destroy the underlying peat that is crucial in our fight against climate change. So last year, and in fact this year as well, we are calling on government to make the use of disposable barbecues on open moorland a criminal offence, with a severe penalty attached for anyone in breach of this. It's an MP letter writing campaign, and so far over 25,000 people have written to their MP asking for more to be done. And I've got a meeting soon with some really supportive MPs who want to take this further, which is great news. And that will probably be with a Westminster Hall debate as a first thing. And as a result of this campaign, we've also had other successes. So we've written to all the major supermarkets, for example, asking them to remove disposable barbecues from sale. And the Co-op just a few months ago, before the hot weather, did agree to do so within a mile of all the national parks, which is great news. And that's what the second film's about. So yes, moorland and peatland landscapes really resonate with climbers, walkers and mountaineers. And so the decision to support and embrace the work of Moors for the Future, which is a nature-based solution to climate resilience, as well as improving landscape quality, was a really easy one for the BMC to make, and I hope we can carry on supporting them. Thank you.
over 17 years, it's grown one little grass. The impact that the volunteers have had has been huge.
We're trying to slow down the damage being done up here. I should be here in Peat. Once it's started, there's nothing to stop it.
We can see ourselves as being on the front line of the fight against climate change.
By the same token that humans have degraded it, we've also got this huge capacity for restoring it.
Well, our breaking news this morning is, of course, this fire. Dozens of families evacuated from their homes in Greater Manchester after a massive blaze on Saddleworth Moor.
The army is on standby to help. Police declared a major incident and fire crews battled through the night to contain the flames.
It's burned for 3 days, and today the flames did nothing but grow and spread and destroy an area of over 6 square kilometres.
There was 20-foot high flames going all the way up that moor. The firefighters have just gone out to try and start putting out...
In the face of our climate changing, of people behaving like idiots, I mean, how depressing is that? You live in a beautiful, beautiful area like this, and all you can think of doing is coming up.
So very, very carefully. It's in a very precarious position, as we've seen with these moorland incidents. There's dropping of a cigarette or the use of a small barbecue, these tinfoil barbecues and alike. It's seen some very significant incidents.
Hi, I'm Sarah Smout, a cellist and singer-songwriter from Skipton in the Yorkshire Dales. And I am thrilled to be able to present to you the music video for Atlas, which I made in collaboration with Yorkshire PEAT Partnership. I wrote Atlas initially for quite personal reasons, because I was really saddened to hear that the curlew was in decline, because I grew up listening to their calls each spring. It's like a symbol of the light returning. Their consistency, I've come to realise, is something that I actually depend on. So when I learned about the fact that they're a threatened species, I really wanted to write a song about that. So I had this idea of writing from a bird's eye view, looking down on the landscape as patterns change. And then I'd been wanting to collaborate with more environmental organisations, and I was in a local meeting with Friends of the Dales chair Bruce MacLeod, and he weirdly suggested that I should perhaps take my cello up onto the bog and do a music video, which was quite strange because I'd actually been thinking the same thing myself, because I'd recently been learning about peat bogs. Being in the Yorkshire Dales and having so much of them around me, I'd been learning just how important they are. So Bruce was able to put me in touch with Lyndon at Yorkshire PEAT Partnership, and we went up to a restoration site called Fleet Moss to have a look at potentially filming the music video there. We went up there on a really gloomy November day, and it was really spooky. There was nothing there except the peat hags, and it was the first time I'd really seen the degradation. I was really shocked to see just how tall the peat hags were, like cliff faces, and we trudged over this bizarre landscape with the coir logs linking all these trenches together, and I just knew from that point that Atlas would be the perfect song to fit the music video, because of this point of view looking down on the landscape, on this broken and scarred, patterned landscape. And I just thought, I want to show this to as many people as possible to try and understand the scale of the problem, but also to really showcase the amazing conservation work that YPP are doing up there. So we were eventually able to film the video in the spring, and we got really lucky with the weather. We had been rained off about 3 or 4 times, I think, prior to that. And whilst we were actually filming, we noticed new cotton grass buds growing, and we had to avoid the original proposed filming site because there was a pair of nesting owls. So we were all really excited to see these things going in the right direction. This whole experience for me has cemented just how important collaboration is,
especially between art and environmental science, to get these important messages across in new and exciting ways. There are plans for further music videos under the banner of wild music in different habitats, so I would welcome any further suggestions for future collaborations. It's an honour to be part of this Peatland conference, and I'm so grateful for all the support from Yorkshire Wildlife Trust and the PEAT Partnership in making this happen and being enthusiastic and encouraging. I'm so happy with the result, and I really, really hope you enjoy it. But most importantly, I hope it helps get the message across that the place for peat is in the ground.
So many miles to go, I'm on the ocean road and I'm not alone for the journey. So many wings take flight as we are told by time we are shadows to clouds and the springtime sun. I've seen it all from up here in my atlas in the sky. I've seen it all from up here where the mountains don't reach high. Something has changed today. We're nearly always leaving, but grasses are green for such a long time here. Something is stranger now. Why do the oceans grow and the forests of old start to disappear? I've seen it all from up here in my atlas in reach I might be alone today, but I'm already bound for the journey.
Hi, I'm Jackie Wragg, Youth Engagement Officer from MoorLIFE Future Partnership. You're about to watch our Peatland Protectors, which is a video created for the UK Youth Climate Summit last year, which was organised by Transform Our World. Our session was part of many sessions that were attended by thousands of school teachers with their pupils across the country. We did a session sheet that goes with the video where teachers were encouraged to pause the video and discuss the topics with their pupils. You can download that session sheet if you go and watch the rest of the video on YouTube, which I'm sure you'll be doing because you only get to see a short bit of it here. The weather conditions were really shocking at the time, where we had junior rangers out to film the video. We really wanted a youth-led approach with the video, and we wanted them to be involved in the filming, obviously, for that reason. And yes, there was hail in the face at one point, and there was a lot of inhospitable weather. So unfortunately, I had to film quite a bit of the content myself, which is why there's more of me in the video than I would like. I do hope you still enjoy it, and hopefully you'll head to YouTube and watch the rest of it, and I'll see you at the end for any questions. Hi, I'm Jackie from MoorLIFE for the Future Partnership. Our session is about peatland habitats and how important they are in our fight against climate change. We've made this video with the help of junior rangers from around the National Park and South Pennines, and you'll notice from the video that the weather was really horrific, so I want to say thanks to those junior rangers for being involved in such inhospitable conditions up on the moors. The video will have some stopping points where there's a summary and an activity for you to do, so if you pause the video then you can take part in that activity and then progress on to the next part of the video. Like many habitats across the world, peatlands are performing a silent role in our fight against climate change. It's important that we protect these habitats and we learn about them so people understand how important they are.
So it helps to eat the peat, which is extremely important for locking the carbon. Most of the peat is made up of dead is sphagnum moss.
So, how do peatlands affect the climate? Well, it's all to do with the carbon cycle. So if you think about the carbon cycle and how vegetation, plants photosynthesize, taking carbon dioxide out of the atmosphere, that's where the story starts here with this particular plant being crucial, which is the sphagnum moss that's under my hand here. Now I know you can't feel it in the video, but it's incredibly soft and spongy and it absorbs lots of water. And this area under my feet is incredibly waterlogged. This means decomposition is slowed down so much that the rate of dying vegetation is actually higher than the rate of decomposition. So what you end up with is peat, which is partially decomposed organic matter, such as this sphagnum here, with very high amounts of carbon, around 50% in some cases of pure carbon in the peat. Okay Anna, so you're testing the peat depth here on Bar Brook on the Eastern Moors. Off you go.
Push this rod in and see how deep it goes, and then we'll know how deep the peat is here.
So why does it matter? What's important about peat?
Well, peat stores a lot of carbon. It's really important in terms of climate change because it's stopping that carbon being released into the atmosphere.
So there's a lot of sphagnum moss in this quadrat while Anna is pressing that peat rod into there. Anna, can you feel that? Have you reached the maximum?
Yeah.
You can see this beautiful moss here is sphagnum moss. Sphagnum moss is what makes up a large amount of the peat, partially decomposed because it's so boggy and wet here. Look at my shoes surrounded in water. It doesn't actually break down fully, so partially decomposed sphagnum makes up the peat, so it's very high carbon content. It forms about 1 millimetre a year. Let's see how deep it is then, Anna.
Okay, you ready?
I'm ready. Wow, I'm gonna have to back up. It's that deep. Is that 2.5 metres? And another half a metre. So that is approximately 2,500 years of carbon storage right under our feet. And that is where it wants to stay. 2,500 years, 2,500 millimetres and growing, because all this sphagnum is helping to form more peat and fix more carbon into the ground. Thanks, Anna. So why are some peatlands in the UK damaged and degraded to a point where they're releasing carbon? Well, in the National Park and South Pennine Moors, we're surrounded by major cities, which during the Industrial Revolution added to large volumes of air pollution, which actually contributed to stripping this important living bog layer of vegetation from some areas, and in some areas leaving blankets of pure black peat with no vegetation. Healthy peatlands actually store carbon, locking it up in the ground beneath our feet, but degraded and damaged peatlands release carbon into the atmosphere, so actually becoming a carbon source. Our protection of peatlands is really important to remove that carbon source and turn it potentially into a carbon sink that's helping us in the fight against climate change.